This is the dawn of the sixth sun. Welcome back. I'll be doing some book reading and addressing the topic of the time of transition that we are currently living in, known as the sixth sun. This prophecy originates from the Toltec Mexica path and tradition. It has been prophesied since for the last 5 suns at a minimum, each sun lasting approximately 6,625 Earth years. And we have recently reached the conclusion of the 5th sun, which is known as the Sun of Justice, the Sun of Injustice, actually. It's known as Iztac Tonatiuh, which means the son of the flint, in which the flint archetype represents justice. And in the case of this last 6,625 years, it represents the injustice that arises from an imbalance in the dualities of nature. Now, since 2012, when most believed that based on the Mayan calendar, that the world would end, it in fact appears not to have ended. And we are now transitioning through an in-between time as we shift from the 5th to the 6th sun, known as Iztac Tonatiuh. Iztac, the white sun. Interesting to note that the sun as of late has been extremely like a pearly white. Just an observation. So, I wanted to read a couple portions from a book written by one of the Toltec teachers whom I have studied with, and I just love reading his books and applying some of the ancient dream practices and energy healing techniques and tools that have been preserved since the times of the ancient Toltec, and that he has been passing on. Now here's the book. This is The Real Toltec Prophecies by Sergio Magaña. How the Aztec calendar predicted modern day events and reveals a pathway to a new era of humankind. So, for the next year, approximately, we'll now be shifting through a distinct time. Let's see here. So, if I'm not mistaken, the period from now till next year, which will be incredibly important, 2026 to 2027, the 6th heaven, the heaven of movement, which is the theme of this particular cycle. And I will read this portion as it is the most relevant. For the ancient Mexican cultures, the universe is movement, created in the mind of the black eagle, Senteot, or God, which is inevitably based on the number 4. This year, that cosmic movement will bring the 11th New Fire ceremony. This ceremony takes place every 52 years and marks the perfect alignment of Orion's belt and the Pleiades, which is the start of a new cycle. This will take place on November 24th, 2026. So, this will be the year when, either in a harmonious and peaceful way or forcibly, through upheaval and chaos, we will accept the new world of the sixth sun, a world of gender equality, a world of inner rather than outer focus, a world in which facing and solving the problems in our underworlds will be our only means of survival. So I'll stop there. And so this being the year, the cycle of movement, which actually began in the equinox of this year, I believe, is when we can expect great movements. And something interesting to note about this shift, moving from the fifth sun to the sixth sun, is that the sixth sun will be a time when we move from what is known as the tonal towards the nahual. That is to say, from the outer to the inner. Tonal comes from the word Tonatiuh, which is the sun, and nahual is a word that pertains to the inner self, who I truly am, who you truly are. Newa. And this is what the ancient language Nahuatl is referring to. And so the ancient Mexica were those who knew the secrets of the inner mysteries, especially around dreaming. So creating reality from dreams, as well as healing via the inner dream reality, and expanding beyond into the shamanic tradition, which we could say this would be one, traveling through what is known in the cosmology of the Mexica, the cosmic flower, which is a map in which we have 13 heavens and 9 underworlds. The 9 underworlds are the Mictlan, and the 13 heavens are the Ilhuical. And each is its own realm, so to speak. But they are all contained within us when we start to see ourselves as cosmic beings. You could say universal beings, creators. Now, this place in which we live is known as Tlalticpac, which means literally, more or less, this place in which we live. And some people will refer to it as the matrix, the construct, the simulation, the earth, the world. The ancient Mexica referred to it as another dream, the waking dream, the land of the waking dream. And one can be awake to relative degrees in this reality, so-called. One can be one of the walking dead, like a zombie, depending on how aware they are. And one can also be awakened to a great degree, meaning, like in the Buddhist traditions or the Oriental traditions, enlightened. That is to say, their awareness has expanded beyond simply just the physical dimension, what we know via our five senses. Now, I wanted to introduce this perspective because I will be delving into it throughout future videos. We'll talk about the underworlds. We'll talk about healing techniques and tools. We'll talk about some of the previous suns and how they influence us now, because they do. And naturally, there will be future suns as well. So this sixth sun will go on for the next 6,625 years, starting 2027, I believe, next year, this year to next year. But I'll update if I'm mistaken about that. But this is a key year. This is a key cycle, that is, the sixth sun. And I'd like to read another passage because of how incredibly precious and auspicious this time is, historically speaking, based on this cosmology. As I know, many of us in the world are struggling and enduring the upheavals of change and uncertainty and unprecedented times. But all is not lost. So here it is written, but all is not lost. If we learn the lessons of the first and second suns as we transition from the fifth to the sixth, new possibilities will open up for us. The sixth sun is called Iztac Tonatiuh, or the white sun. White refers to the prophecy of the return of Quetzalcoatl, the essence of God or white energy. Or Quetzalcoatl, plural, meaning those in whom the serpent rises. The serpent being the Mexican equivalent of the Kundalini of Eastern traditions. So, the Quetzalcoatl are those who have acquired precious knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. In other traditions, such people are known as avatars, or those with Christ consciousness, or Buddha nature. So, this prophecy is telling us that it is worth the effort to overcome the obstacles of these times, adapt to the new order, and seek spiritual knowledge. We may even think that it refers to us personally and that we can reach enlightenment in the new sun. I like to think of it this way. I like to think this way and am working to make this my future. So I'll stop there and leave you with that to consider and reflect on. Again, The Real Toltec Prophecies, great book. All the books are great material. I'll put the link in the description. And it's just great. So, there you have it. The sixth sun. Now, I mentioned the new fire ceremony, which takes place every 52 years, which is a time when we orbit around the same point around the Pleiades, I believe. The Pleiades constellation, also known as the Seven Sisters. And what is interesting to note is that many of these indigenous traditions have always spoken about star ancestry, connections to the stars, whether that be the planets or the constellations, and sometimes the star brothers and sisters, elders. And for those of you who may identify as potentially starkin, indigos, hybrids, so on and so forth. This will not be new to you. And since we are living in a time of disclosure, revelations, aka the apocalypse, this should become increasingly more common knowledge for those who are now at this time awakening during the sixth sun. From darkness to light, everything that has been occulted will start to be revealed. And personally, I think that what it makes this so special is that our attention, the perspective, will shift from an external focus towards an internal focus, from a more masculine-oriented way of navigating reality towards a more feminine approach, which is more inward, withdraws within. It turns its attention into the darkness, into the womb of creation, into the cosmos, the void. And so many of the practices that we'll be exploring, whether that be dream practices, energy healing practices, expanding one's consciousness and awareness beyond the tonal into the nahual, into who they truly are, as consciousness, as an infinite consciousness, returning to their sovereign essence, which is timeless and not bound by the five senses. And this will all make more sense with time and through applied practice, and also a natural expansion, because the uniqueness of this time is that we will be expanding our consciousness capacity naturally, especially when we are aligned inwardly, which is why I made the previous videos on human design, where alignment with our natural self, our true self, our authentic essence, is the key to move through this transitional time gracefully, and to experience greater peace, and to receive the blessings that are available on the earth at this time. While at the same time perhaps having to undergo certain cycles of purification and integration of new awareness, and potentially, very likely, activation. As I mentioned, some of you may identify as indigos, as hybrids, as a variety of those who have star ancestry. And honestly, if we are keeping it real, and we are, we all human beings have star ancestry. We all come from stardust, right? We all have a mixture of star, interstellar connections. This may be unconscious, this may be known, this may be something to explore. And again, if any of this information, if it resonates with you, that's awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. Take what serves, leave the rest, come back when you're ready, or when maybe certain truths will dawn at a later time, or at the proper time. Nonetheless, I did want to expand on the indigenous star perspectives and their connections to the stars. I have a strong affinity with the Pleiadian and Sirian consciousness, stellar ancestry, which naturally have Lyran ancestry, which all human beings I would consider are Lyran ancestry. But of course here I'm talking about the identity of the soul self, the being that traverses from life to life if you are considering a reincarnation framework. And if not, that's okay too. It's no problem. This is all just information to consider and reflect on and perhaps delve into and see what you find. Now, I wanted to introduce another book here that I personally resonate with by the author Patricia Corey. These are the New Syrian Revelations, Galactic Prophecies from the Sixth Dimension. Okay, we're going there. Now, I was considering whether I wanted to go into this sphere, but I figure might as well, since we're going to be expanding on as much as we can cover while we're alive. So, let's see. So again, this is these are messages that are received via interdimensional medium communications coming from a particular group of Syrian Syrian beings, emissaries that are stating transmissions from the sixth dimension. And here's a quick section on What of the Stars. Over the great expanse of more than 100,000 years of human existence that corresponds with the hour of your seeding as Homo sapiens through to the present, Earth-based stargazers' curious observation of the heavens has never waned so much as it has in this recent time frame, specifically from the turning of the millennium, and even more prevalently in these few brief years since the ending of the Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012. And I'll pause there. And I just wanted to read that bit because it aligns with, again, many, specifically the calendar systems that were presented via the Mayan and the Toltec Mexica paths. Now I will add, both calendars are not exactly absolutely the same, but there are correlations, especially with the archetypes, the glyphs, the reference of dividing time, and the processions of respecting the seasons and the equinoxes and the solstices. And they highly regard the, similar celestial spheres, Venus, the Pleiades, Orion's belt, and they do pay attention to the moon, Metzli. Okay, I did want to read here a portion, a larger chunk from the introduction, in which the Syrians have some bit to say about, although actually, are these the Syrians? Oh no, I believe this is Patricia herself. And the reason why I think this is relevant is because as we transition, some of you may already be experiencing certain light body integration, certain shifts and changes in your perception, in your cognitive ability. Perhaps you're developing telepathic ability, expanded awareness, healing abilities, interdimensional, again, travel, communication, which are all really not new age or paranormal necessarily, or weird, or some kind of special thing. These are natural to humans, but they've been suppressed, and a big part of that is our conditioning, our social conditioning, for many of us religious programming and social programming, and for those who are knowledgeable about this topic, the frequency fence. So in large part, frequency meaning the energetic vibration, oscillation of our field as a human being, also can limit our capacity to have greater access to these natural abilities. But never fear, there is always a way to expand one's consciousness and awareness and to develop these abilities, especially if one puts in the work and the effort, although there is also natural expansion. So let me read a bit more, and I think you may find this fascinating. Food for thought. So, about the Syrians. And here the Syrians, by the way, are the Sirius B Syrians. I'm almost certain. Okay. Their prophetic messages have proven themselves time and time again to be accurate depictions of our present. A world that has been described in so many indigenous prophecies, particularly those of the Maya and the Hopi. So many both perceived great cosmic cycles as the passage from one great galactic age to another. They both predicted Earth and the cosmic influences involved with our solar system to be at the point of an enormous shift from 2012 onward. The turning point of a mighty wheel, which has been referred to as the Great Shift of the Ages. Many people interpreted the fact that the Mayan calendar ran out in 2012 as a harbinger of disaster. But, in reality, what these ancient star people were leaving for future civilizations was their legendary understanding of the nature of time. The Mayan calendar depicted that time, recorded time, would disappear. Chiseled into that great stone masterpiece were found symbolic clues to untold mysteries regarding the course of humanity and its place in the cosmic order, but none was more relevant to us today than the ending of their calendar. Rather than warning of the end of times, to some apocalyptic destruction of all life upon our planet, the calendar's finality speaks to the eventuality of our shifting out of the space-time continuum and of our moving into a dimension where time would no longer be relevant. The Syrian teachings regarding our passage out of the space-time continuum mirror much of the Mayan wisdom, or perhaps it is the other way around, and it was the Mayan wisdom that mirrored Syrian perspectives. For the Mayas, we're accessing all manner of galactic information from the Pleiadians and Syrians as well. And it is to the 5th and 6th dimensions where 5 million Mayas ascended before their civilization mysteriously disappeared. The Syrians are dedicated to helping us experience the joy of this transition, one that they lived through hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us. It is not always easy information to absorb, for, in an effort to empower us, they have exposed so much about the dark forces, determined to take Earth down to the lowest vibrations. And, let's face it, that is not information we want to hear. However, they insist, and I wholeheartedly agree, that our willingness to understand the adversities facing us, never denying, but rather understanding how and why we have come to be in the throes of such an ultimate struggle of darkness and light, is ultimately highly empowering. Bold we must be to acknowledge that there is a spiritual war underway on this planet, for it helps us to understand far greater forces at work here. And, as determined light workers, it renders all the more spectacular our vision of what light can do. It illuminates our imagination, allowing us to visualize the most breathtaking new landscapes that will be ours to experience upon this earth in transition. So there you have it. The new Syrian revelations. So I hope you enjoyed that read. I hope that was insightful. Again, if you want to check out those books, I'll make sure to place the link so you can take a look if you're interested. I found them to be quite illuminating and empowering, and to give some sense of orientation to the times we're living in. I very much agree and resonate with the perception of the Toltec and Mayan around time and the dissolution of time. And I would imagine that many of you are having your own paranormal, abnormal, inexplicable time warping experiences in which time seems to slip through your fingers. Maybe you don't experience time. Maybe time warps for you. Or maybe you're experiencing more of a non-linear kind of overlapping of timelines, and or maybe you already are traversing through multiple timelines at once and you're a master of timeline shifting and so on and so forth. Regardless of where you may be on the journey, as long as we're all here on Earth together, going through this transitional time known as the dawn of the sixth sun, we'll be having each our own unique perception and a journey of what some refer to as ascension. Others may call embodiment of the light body, or others may call creating the new earth, the heaven on earth. Maybe if you have a religious background or a Christian or other traditional path. Regardless, I think what's best is to listen to yourself, trust yourself, tune into your inner authority, your intuition. What does your wisdom tell you? What is your experience? Recapitulate the moments in your life that you couldn't explain to others. And I hope that if you're listening to me and you are resonating with me or have some interest or curiosity, I would very much welcome you to reach out if you want to chat. Maybe you want to talk. Maybe we can have a talk. And feel free to share your mystical experiences, your insights, your wisdom, your perceptions and perspectives. And as I mentioned, I will continue to transmit and share tools, dream practices from the ancients, and other intuitive downloads that come to me, as they do, to do my part in co-creating with you all. And truly it is an honor, it is a pleasure, a privilege to be here with you all in this time. And my heart goes out to you all. And I wish for you all to stand strong, courageously, and that you recognize the beauty within, the divinity within, to see, to know, beyond the mind, beyond conception and definition, to be so aligned, so true, that nothing in this fleeting waking dream can derail you from your innermost innocent, authentic being. You see, that is your eternal self, your true self. And we have the blessing and the opportunity now. We always have, we always will, but we definitely do now have more access to break free from the prison of suffering, the what the Meshikas called the prison of the moon, the lunar prison, the what some may refer to as the matrix construct, the in the Orient they would refer to as the Maya, the illusion, the mind, which keeps us locked in a certain perceptual matrix, which can entail great suffering, but it can also be incredibly enjoyable and fun and magical. So, from my heart to your heart, so much love, so much respect, so much just wonder for what comes next. This year, the years to come, and moving forward. I'll be here, I'll be yours truly, working through what I have to work through alongside you all. And let's really go all the way, everyone. Let's be the Christ superstars we came here to be. Let's come here to be the avatars in human form. Let's radiate. Let's elevate and see how far we can take this. I have no doubt that sometime soon we'll be talking at a whole other level, and we'll be possibly on a platform talking to our friends from the sixth dimension, so to speak. So thanks again for being brave and courageous and hanging in there, tuning into something that may be a little out of the norm, a little out there, but I think you can all handle it. I think you're ready. If you're resonant with me, I would imagine you have the capacity to. And I think everyone on the planet is more than ready to bring forth the full disclosure that I think we're all ready for. So, thank you again. Muchas gracias. Peace be with you. Until next time. Peace and love.